and just kept going and going and going. And then as time got further along, started winning and doing real well. And then I developed my own line of rubs and seasonings, and it snowballed from there. And I never expected to be where I am today.
Welcome to the Pitmasters podcast. I'm Rusty Monson.
I'm Anthony Lujan.
And today we got a special guest. We have Heath Riles in the house, and he's going to talk to us about competitions and rubs and trailers and, well, whatever else pops up. So here we go. All right, guys, welcome to the Pitmasters podcast. Just want to kind of thank you all for your support lately. We've been doing pretty well for, a podcast just got started out. So we just want to kind of remind you guys to go, and you can find us on anywhere, really, the podcast can be heard. Yes. If there isn't one, let us know, because I just found one the other day that I didn't know about. He's like, go to whatever. And I'm like, cool, Catch Pod, let's do that. So let us know, subscribe, leave a review, come and join us on Instagram, Pitmasters Podcast on Instagram and Facebook and
Twitter. Yeah,
we got a Twitter. All right, well, let's just jump right into it then. We're going to bring Heath Riles. We're going to talk a little bit about what we did.
Yeah, what did you do? You did something this week.
I did. I went to Arizona to do a class. I'd previously done a class with Brad from Getting Basted and Tim from Shake and Bake. And then this time I did Luton Booties and Burning and Luton with Jerry and Smitty. So it was a great class. If you guys ever get a chance to take one of their classes, really eye-opening. A lot of the stuff they do they make everything a little bit more simplistic. Mm-hmm. But man, the flavors just explode. So nice. It's easy and it tastes great. They're really cool to learn from. The whole class was really interactive. We got to get up and we're, all around the smokers and we had a good old time. So if you guys ever hear about one in your vicinity or you can get out to get one, I highly suggest that class. So nice.
All I did was cook up a few tri-tips this week, actually, too, and they turned out awesome.
I cooked up a few Carl's Jr.'s burgers. Lots of McDonald's.
Oh, man.
Being on the road, though.
I guess road tripping, yeah. So let's get right into it. Let's bring in Heath Riles. What up, Heath?
How's it going, guys?
It's going good, man.
Going good.
It's awesome that you were able to come by and say hi. We're kind of a big fan of yours, so we really appreciate you coming on.
Man, I appreciate y'all having me. I really do.
So let's talk about this. I mean, I want to start with the trailer. I know that's a weird place to start, but that is the coolest trailer I've ever seen.
Right? That wrap is amazing.
In my life. Tell me about that trailer for just a second.
Well, I usually sell or get rid of trailers about every 2 to 3 years. Nothing's wrong with them or anything. I just, I don't know if the word's getting bored or whatever, but it's more or less for tax purposes for me, And so I design a new trailer, and kind of throw it out. And I've had enough of them that I kind of know how I like something laid out. And so I tried to put all the bells and whistles on this trailer that I could. It's 28-foot bumper pool. It's got a full bathroom in the front with a shower and a toilet. And it's got actually a full-size shower just like a house. It has cabinets and stuff in the bathroom to hold your towels and linens and, just everything you need in the bathroom and all that, and a sink. And then you come out and I've got a couch bed on the wall, and I've got a bunk bed that folds down off the wall behind the couch bed if somebody's with me. And the couch bed, kind of the reason I went with that, just so I could have somewhere to sit during the day and all that. And then I've kind of got a counter with a big sink in it I can fit full pans in, and a closet to hold all my stuff, and cabinets and stuff on the other side. And I've got a pocket door going out to the porch, and got 10-foot of porch out there to mount cookers and stuff and play. And it's got spread axles, and it was white, and I knew that I wanted a wrap job, and I've got a really fantastic wrap guy here in the edge of Arkansas, in Marion, Arkansas, and I carried it over there and let him kind of design it out and play with it, and I liked it, and that's what we done to it.
That's amazing. You have everything except for a swimming pool, jacuzzi.
Yeah, pretty much.
How do you get to that point? Because as someone we're a 10 by 10 easy up right now, and we're looking to get into the trailer game. how did you get to this point? I mean, what would you give as someone advice for me just starting out looking to get a trailer?
I kind of started with a basic plain Jane trailer, no bathroom, no nothing in it, and I just roll a cooker in and out. It was just something cheap to get into. But honestly, these days, I think if you can afford to do competition barbecue, you can afford a trailer note. You know what I mean? Borrow the money from the bank and just go ahead and do it. Because if you think of the money that you spend on getting a hotel, on travel expenses, on whatnot, and you stay in the trailer, porta johns that you rent and stuff like that. You take all that into the fact, you could be paying a trailer note just off what you're paying on entry fees and stuff like that for renting porta johns and stuff. At least I did. And so doing a basic setup, with a small, if you're just cooking KCBS, doing an 8-foot porch, and you could keep it all in 24 foot, I think it's the way to go, honestly. Competition barbecue is not cheap, let's face it. And, a lot of people don't make money at it. And so if it's just like any hobby, it's like buying a camper or anything else. You may as well enjoy yourself while you're there.
Right. So speaking of competition barbecue, let's just jump right into that. Where did you get started in the competition world?
I actually started cooking when I was 18 years old with a friend of mine's uncle who had a KCBS team. And just kind of went with him on a few contests, and he said, hey, if y'all going to continue to do this, y'all need to build your own pit. So I went out and built my own pit out of a piece of gas pipe and kind of got started and just kept graduating up. And then it was buying one trailer, and then it was buying another one, and then buying another one, and just kept flipping trailers till I eventually got what I want. Same way with cookers. I finally initially bought a backwoods to begin with and just kept going and going and going. And then as time got further along, started winning and doing real well. And then I developed my own line of rubs and seasonings, and it snowballed from there. And I never expected to be where I am today.
Very nice. How many GCs and Reserve Grand Champions are you sitting on currently?
72 GCs, and I don't know how many reserves, just 15, 16, 17, out somewhere up in there.
Oh, so he wins.
Either win or it's third or less.
Yeah.
So when you started out with competition barbecue, this is something I'm curious about, because when I first started, we went and did a couple backyards. We actually watched some Malcolm Reed videos and threw some stuff together and did pretty well. So then I went out and I took a class from Brad from Getting Basted and Tim, and then I basically just copied those guys. I mean, a lot of people, when they start out, they kind of do their own thing. It seems like it takes them a lot of time. Is that like, how did you start out that way? Did you kind of take a class and go, I'm going to do that? Or did you just kind of say, hey, I'm just going to kind of throw these together, and you took I'm going to figure it out in 3 years route?
No, actually, see, I've been cooking 22 years now, and it took me a long time to figure it out. And anybody nowadays, I tell them, don't waste your money. Go take somebody's class. Take 2 or 3 classes if you can, one a year. Every year you should be taking somebody else's class, especially if you've got that style of cooker that person's cooking on. You should take that class and try to learn your cooker more and be more consistent, because usually you can pay for that class and 2 to 3 contests afterwards if you paid good attention and it was a legitimate class, to win your money back for what the class cost. And so it cuts you, with the way the internet is nowadays. We didn't have that back when I started. It was none of that. It was real secretive. People wasn't teaching classes. And, nowadays everybody teaches a pretty good class. The internet is really well with videos out there from everybody. And Malcolm is probably the number one online source there is. I refer people to him all the time. Me and him are great friends, and he does an excellent job at everything he does. It just cuts your learning curve way down and you can afford that trailer nowadays before you could when I started cooking, because you didn't have all that to learn from.
And so let's say that I took a class, because you do classes, correct?
I do.
So if I took a class from you, what would you suggest I kind of just do your thing for a whole year and then kind of figure out my own thing? Or do you suggest people kind of take what you're doing as a base and then just kind of work from there?
I think everybody wants to create their own unique flavor profile. You can take anybody's, and I don't know how anybody else's class is. I've never had anybody else's class, but you can kind of take a little bit, if you was to take my class and take a little bit from Brad's class, a little bit from Tim's class, whoever else's class you take, and kind of intertwine them. A lot of flavor profiles kind of run the same in a lot of people's classes. Mine's a little bit different because I have my own line of rubs and stuff. And I do use a little bit of Blues Hog here and there. I mean, it's a great sauce. You got to have it to win with. I firmly believe that. It's all about technique at the end of the day. And I don't know how anybody else's class is, but with mine, I give out a 35 to 40 page notebook full of recipes, old recipes, new recipes, and everything that I'm currently doing, timelines, techniques for a couple different cookers that I'm cooking on, and show you a ton of stuff, even in illustrated pictures in the book. That way you're not trying to sit there and write notes and miss something. It's all typed out for you.
That's actually really easy. That makes it nice as a student.
Well, and I give you out a book, and it's got note sections in it where you can take notes on different stuff, and it just works what I do. And I don't do but 1-2 classes a year, and I've kind of got down to doing one. And I've got so many people bugging me when I'm going to do a class this year, and I'll probably do one spring of the year, and that'll probably be the only one that I do next year.
Where do you usually do those
in
at?
The spring. I've traveled all over. It just kind of depends. I've done them in Georgia. I've done them in Michigan. I've done them in Florida. Probably the next one I do is probably going to be here local to me, so I don't have to travel. It's probably going to be in the Memphis area somewhere, if I had to guess.
Well, I guess we're going to Memphis this spring, Rusty.
Well, I want to go to Memphis anyway. I just watched that country documentary, and I've never been. So tell us about your rubs. So that jalapeno rub, I was in Barbecue Pit Stop. It's a local place here that sells your rubs. Mm-hmm. And I am adverse to heat. It's for me. I eat mild salsa, and it's too hot for me. So the guy there throws it on my hand and says, "Try this." So I eat it. It was like amazing. So I got a bunch of your rubs, and I made these chicken wings. And I have to tell you, you guys all tried them at the SAA event. They were awesome. We used all your stuff. So tell me a little bit about your line. Like, where did it come from? How did you get it up? What do you guys got coming next?
Well, kind of everything spiraled from the sweet rub. That was my first rub. And after you really get one rub down pat, you just kind of start taking ingredients away and adding ingredients to develop other rubs. You kind of know your measurements and your base point, and that's kind of how everything else was born. And, for the flavored rubs, all I really did was take out 2 cups of the brown sugar in the sweet rub and put in the flavors. And that's kind of how they were born. It makes them all unique. They have the same amount of onion powder, garlic powder, salt, pepper, all of them's the same. Nice. Except for the peach rub. I actually put 4 cups of peach flavoring in it. Right. The beef rub is, salt, pepper, onion, garlic, a little bit of paprika for color, chili powder anyway, and a little bit of red pepper. It's nothing, hard. It's just about getting the right increments down to get it where it tastes good, And then I done it used to be called Seasonal, and McCormick's actually has that name trademarked. So I changed my name when I changed labels and all that, and to Everyday Rub. And that's salt, garlic, pepper, onion, a little bit of sugar, some MSG, and really the garlic jalapeno, which is my number one rub. It is Everyday Rub, but I just taken double the garlic and added a jalapeno powder to it. And it's turned out to be my number one rub.
You said MSG. I know that Smoking Guns Hot took MSG out of theirs. Is that kind of a trend now, or are you kind of bucking that and saying, you know what, MSG is good for you? Get over it.
MSG is not. This is an argument that so many people can have. And I was on a deal last week, and somebody actually sent the true meaning of the, term MSG, from Japan. And, I guess some people may be allergic to it or whatever, and some people are not. I'm torn about doing an MSG-free version because MSG is kind of, it's a flavor enhancer, let's face it. And so it amps up the flavor. So when you take that out of it, it kind of affects the flavor a little bit. Now, you can replace MSG with salt. MSG is just a version of salt, is all it is. The Japanese version of salt. And so you just have to add more table salt. All you have to do to get it back up, and it's going to alter the taste of it some.
Nice. I love MSG.
Yeah, you do, because that's.
I mean, I like MSG myself. Some people don't, but some of the same ones I've seen that gripe about MSG go to the Japanese joint and eat on the Chinese joint once a week, and everything you eat in there is full of MSG. But yet they claim they're allergic to it, and so it's kind of a double-edged sword. I'm not going to argue with anybody about it. I might make the change one of these days, might not. I don't know. And just kind of right now, sales are really, really good, and so why would I change something?
Well, I saw a thing. It was on. I can't remember where it was on Food Network. I want to say, and they brought in a bunch of people in to do some tasting, and on the application they said, are they allergic or have adverse headaches to MSG, and they only took the people who said yes. So they served them food with MSG in it, and nobody complained. And at the end of it, they asked the question, hey, does anyone, have an adverse to MSG? And everyone raised their hand. And they said at that point, okay, we did add MSG to these meals. And all of a sudden, within 10 minutes, you had, I got a headache. All of a sudden. I think it's more, I don't know what I'm looking for here, but kind of in your head.
I know, an illusion. Illusion.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. I think it's all mental. I really do. Now, the gluten thing is for real,
right?
With people with gluten tolerant and stuff. But the MSG thing, I think it's just, somebody got on the internet one day and kind of, bashed it. And then everybody jumped on the train of, that's what's wrong with me. I got a headache. MSG caused it. Everybody likes to self-diagnose themselves. And, I don't know. It's like I said, I guess it's your body. Do what you want to with it. If you feel like you don't want to have MSG, then cool. But me, it don't bother me.
Don't take it out, man. Exactly. Stay strong.
What my favorite thing is that you got going on, Heath, is your butter bath. That makes wrapping ribs so easy.
It really does. Butter bath simplifies everything when it comes to wrapping ribs. And all it is dehydrated butter, dehydrated honey, granulated sugar, which is, dried brown sugar, and some spices. And if I could honestly name it Johnny Trigg in a bag, I probably would. It just makes things really simple and really easy, and it's about being consistent. What it's about.
Yeah, it's so simple. I just throw that on there, Rusty, and a little bit of apple juice for the moisture, and it's just like you added a ton of flavor. Just simple.
I haven't tried it yet, but I want to really bad because I watched that Malcolm Reed video and you put that on, and I'm like, that sounds awesome. I actually ordered it. I ordered a couple things off your website. Well, today, so I got a bunch of stuff coming.
Well, I'm actually working on some new packaging for my butter bath and my injection, and I'm actually going to be rolling out a brisket injection and a chicken injection.
Nice.
And I'm going to have it where you can scoop out. It'll tell you if you want to cook 1 slab or 10 slabs, how much to scoop out and add, and how much, liquid to mix with it. And so once I do that, I think it will be a lot more people will try it, because a lot of people don't cook with 1 or 2 slabs of ribs when they cook. Yeah. And that way you can just open it up and get it out of your counter and put it in your little shaker, like you would a replacement meal shake or something. Scoop it in there, fill up the liquid, shake it up, and pour it in your wrap.
I think that's,
and I think that'll really help.
Cool. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, but what I do like about that is that it's the consistency, especially in the competition scene. You want the consistently see throughout those 2 or 10 racks of ribs that you're cooking. You want that even profile all the way across the board.
Yeah, I didn't think about that because I'm putting on whatever.
Yeah, you just grab a handful of brown sugar, throw it on there. You just cut up a piece of some butter. You don't know exactly how much you're putting for each wrap.
I didn't think about that.
That's right.
That's genius.
And so me, I'm cutting mine down to a certain number of bones. I try to trim, I like to cook a heavier rack of ribs on St. Louis ribs, and I like to cook about a 2-pound weight on baby backs. And so I have that weight down. And so if I'm wrapping with 3/4 of a cup, I know what I'm doing on every single slab. And it just makes it consistent is what it's all about.
So what are you cooking on?
What am I not cooking on would be a better question.
So when you're going out, let's say you're going to a competition, what are you bringing along?
To a KCBS event, I'm usually bringing along my Deep South gravity fed, my Old Hickory CTO in my trailer, and a Traeger for chicken. I love a pellet grill for chicken.
That seems to be really popular now because I'm going out to more and more competitions, and more people are bringing out their Traegers, for ribs and almost always chicken. So what makes it? Yeah. What makes the pellet grill so good for chicken?
I like separating my ribs away from my chicken, and I was cooking everything on a Deep South, and I've always been an Old Hickory person. I've always liked ribs off an Old Hickory, absolutely loved them off an Old Hickory, and just started doing for MBN. I cooked so much pork for these big Memphis Barbecue Network contests, whole shoulders and all that I had to have a rib grill too. And so I had those two pits in my trailer. And so throwing a Traeger in there when I go to a KCBS to do chicken on and separating it away from the ribs. The CTO, I didn't like how it cooked it so much faster because of convection, but I would still have pork or brisket on the Deep South. And I didn't want to be opening the door every 20 minutes when I start spritzing with butter because I never covered my pan and it having to get back up to temp so fast with the pork or brisket on there. I wanted to leave the door shut until the alarm went off, so I knew I had to separate it from that grill, if that made sense. And so when I went to the Traeger grill with chicken, it just shot my chicken scores through the roof when I started using a pellet cooker for chicken.
Nice. And so you're not cooking thighs currently, are you?
No, I cook chicken legs.
What made you decide to make that jump just to legs only?
Honestly, got tired of prepping legs. Prepping thighs. Got tired of prepping them.
What's the difference between a leg when it comes down to, because I've never done one for a competition. What's the difference? What makes it so easy? What am I doing for a leg?
I take and grab a paper towel and kind of stretch the skin down toward the knuckle and trim a little bit of excess skin, and that's it. I don't do nothing else. And
there's obviously the fat's still there. Is it rendered down pretty good?
Oh, it all renders down.
Yeah.
It renders way down.
Do you cook to 200 degrees?
I cook it to about 190, 92. Going up in there.
So So you're just laying your rub on the outside. Are you brining it, or are you doing anything fancy?
So kind of my process, I used to I jacquard my chicken, right? And then I mix up 32 ounces of chicken injection, and I inject 1 ounce per leg. I cook 16 legs. That gives me 16 ounces left over. And then I pour the remaining 16 ounces over the legs. And so I inject and brine. And I leave them as soon as I get meat inspection on Friday, whether it's, 10, 11 a.m., I want them injected by 1 o'clock. But the earlier, the better. And I leave them in there the next morning until around 7:30, 8 o'clock is when they come out. And I used to fold the skin back, season under the skin, and pull the skin back over and season. I stopped all that. My sauce has got enough heat in it. There's no need in seasoning under the skin. So I just season on top of the skin, put it in a pan of butter, and let it go. And I cook it for 45 minutes, and then I open it and spritz it with butter and rotate the pans and go every 20 minutes after that. Spritz them with butter until they're done. I never cover the pan. I don't pop tendons. I may pop 1 or 2 out of 16. Then I pull them out, put them on a cooling rack, put them back on the cooker for about 5 minutes, kind of dry the wetness off of them, pull them out, dip them in sauce, kind of put a little bit of table salt on them, and put them back on the pit, turn to the smoke setting, let the smoke kind of attach to it, and then I pull them out and box them. That's it.
I've seen a lot, especially watching Barbecue. All those guys seems to do legs right now, and that's I haven't seen it. Out here in the West, you don't see it. I haven't seen it anyway.
I cooked them and they turned out really well. Actually, I think I hit 5th place with them.
I need to try it because I telling you, man, I know that everyone says this. I want to specify this. Everybody hates laundry, but I hate both of them more than literally everyone. I dread it. I think about it for days. I'm like, oh, chicken. I have to. Ugh. Yeah. So that's why I got a chicken guy on the team because I'm like, yeah, sorry, Chad, but the only reason you're on the team is to cut chickens. So I hate to tell you over, in front of everybody.
Yeah, but when you spend time trimming those chickens, like Crooked Pigs Barbecue, man, their chickens are this perfect little pillows. It's amazing watching them work on their chicken. It's an art.
Well, let me say this. On my chicken legs, I'm not just going and buying 20 legs. I go and I buy 40 to 60 legs at a time, and I weigh my legs out. And I like cooking about a quarter ounce consistency within a quarter ounce. So I'm going to cook generally 4 1/4 to 4 1/2 range, or either 4 1/2 or 4.75, or either 4.75 to 5, all the way up to 5 1/2. And so I will do those in increments of 8. And so I may wind up with 2 contests worth of chicken when I trim, and I vacuum seal and I freeze them. And when I get ready to go to contest, I just go out to my freezer and pull out a set of 16 of between a quarter and ounce. And it makes it easy. And I know one year I went and ordered 2 cases of chicken legs, and I had 10 contests worth of chicken when I got done.
Wow. It makes it so easy.
And I cooked that. It makes it so you may as well spend, half a day at home doing it. It's over and it's done with.
Right.
You weight them and you sort them out. You're not trimming a lot, and you vacuum seal them and you're done. And I do brisket the same way. I may buy 5 briskets at one time, and they come in fresh, and I trim them all down, get them all ready to go, vacuum seal them, boom, back in the freezer. Ribs the same way. Really, the only thing that I trim at a contest is pork. That's it. And it don't take 5 minutes.
Right, and then you just pull that out the week before in your fridge, right? And then it's just all in rotation.
Yep, that's it.
Get your pens out, people, because that is a huge tip.
That's huge. Like I want to cry right now. I've just wasted a whole summer. So, like, if I get a Snake Rivers Farms and they always come frozen. So, do I thaw it out? Is it good to freeze again? I've frozen chicken, thawed it out, and then frozen it again. So I know that's okay.
I've done it before. I've thawed them out and refroze them. I have. So I don't see why it would hurt. You have so many people talking the theories that they wouldn't do that. And it's not a good idea. And, don't cook frozen meat. You need to cook fresh whenever possible and all this. Well, I've won so many. I guarantee the majority of my GCs has all come off frozen meat. Very rare has it been fresh.
Well, actually, Malcolm touched on that a little bit. He said that he prefers not to refreeze because what you're doing is expanding those water molecules. So when they're expanding, when it goes to defrost, it's dripping out. You're losing the moisture. Then you're refreezing again. You're expanding those molecules again, the water molecules. And then when you thaw it out again, you're just literally draining the water out of it. That's just a theory.
But you put that water back in.
That's right. I mean, I'm putting a lot of injection in my stuff. I'll tell you that a lot. And so, am I by far the most educated or one more than anybody else? No. I've been very lucky and been blessed, and what I do, it just works for me. So I just try to stick with it.
Well, you're damn close. So, So what kind of brisket are you using?
I actually use an A9 from the butcher shop in Pensacola, Florida.
Damn, I got to get on that. Yeah. Everyone's saying that these days.
So far. You gonna make a road trip of that one weekend?
I'm down. So the A9s opposed to Snake River Farms, a couple people told me just, talking in general that you kind of have to change your profiles on it. Is that true? Or is it kind of the spades, but just a little bit more tender?
I don't know about changing no flavor profile. I've never heard anybody do that myself. I didn't change my flavor profile when I switched. And I went from Snake River to Premier Protein to A9, and I never changed anything. So I don't know, but tenderness wise, I feel like maybe I cook them a few more degrees than I do the Snake River. Just the way that I cook. I think I was cooking Snake Rivers to about 203, and I think I carry these to about 206. I think it's right. 202, something there. It just depends on the temp you're cooking.
Going for the fill flavor or fill technique, right? When you're probing, just looking for that certain.
Well, I set my alarm to 204, and then I check the brisket, and I feel. And sometimes that brisket's there at 204, and sometimes I wrap it back up and let it go for another 30 minutes. I want it to feel a certain way, like soft butter.
Right.
And so moving on to pork, I know that you use Cheshire, or Yeah, how did I say that right?
Cheshire.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Cheshire. Yeah,
Cheshire pork, and that's a heritage breed. And you hear a lot about the taste of heritage breeds. What's the difference between a Cheshire pork and just one like a Smithfield or a Prairie Fresh?
You know, I'm sure Smithfield and Prairie Fresh are probably using all types of hogs. Because they're running through so much pork. You know, Cheshire and probably Compart, they have their own breeding programs and their own farmers. And so they're just focusing on one breed, where your big companies, you know, commercially owned companies are just slaughtering hogs nonstop. A lot of people farm for them. So you may be cooking a Hampshire one day or Yorkshire the next or you know, a blend or whatever. And we've got some local pork producers. Well, not local, they're about 4 hours away. And they, excuse me, run a slaughter facility and they kill Hampshires. And that's where some of the guys down south get their whole hogs at. You know, but I hooked up with Cheshire a couple of years ago. It's a really unique brand. I met them at Memphis in May. I don't know, several years prior to that. I tried cooking some of their pork and I really liked it and hooked up with them. And I honestly, it's just phenomenal pork. It's really, really good pork. It's marbled up real well. It's no antibiotics, no fillers, no hormones, no anything. And, you know, it's just a solid all around pork. You know, you're getting something good when you get something from them.
And these can be ordered online from them, correct?
You can. And actually, if you order online, you can actually put in the notes that your competition barbecue team, can you kind of select me, you know, what you're looking for, pick a rib or whatever. And they try to do the best they can with that when they're hand picking your, you know, biking boxes. And you can actually use the discount code Heath Riles 2019 for 10% off during checkout.
Can you say that one more time for us?
You can use the discount code Heath Riles 2019. That'll get you 10% off on your order.
Perfect.
Yeah, because I'm all about trying those. I've heard a lot about them lately. You hear Compart a lot and that heritage and all that stuff, but I just started hearing that.
And Compart, you know, I used to be a Compart team. There's nothing wrong with Compart. Jim's a good guy. I can't say a single bad about him. He has a great product. I mean, he really does. Great guy.
Nice. So let's jump into the ribs. I was listening to another podcast the other day and you were on there. I really like this bandsaw theory you have going on where you're using the bandsaw to straighten up those ribs.
Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit different. You don't have to do it so much on St. Louis ribs as you do baby backs, you know, what I cook for the MBN, Memphis style contest. You know, but for St. Louis ribs, you can kind of cut them with a knife, but you can kind of turn them at an angle and get them straight a lot of times. You know, you just kind of got to lay your knife out and know what you're doing. It makes it kind of easy. I mean, nothing hard.
Right. Maybe it's just easier for the butcher to square your ribs up for you than actually buying a bandsaw for the house.
That's right. That's right.
Once you have a bandsaw, though, you'll find reasons to use it, I'm sure. Like, hey,
yeah.
I didn't realize I could use a bandsaw for that.
Yeah.
So MBN and KCBS, what's the difference between those two for people who've never, because especially out here in the West, we don't get those MBNs out here. So
no, MBN is kind of Memphis based. It kind of broke away from Memphis in May in 2006, and they started their own sanctioning body. The reps did, and MBN is an all pork cooking sanctioning body. They cook whole hog, they cook shoulders or butts, and they cook ribs, and it can be either. But baby backs is kind of the go-to for Memphis style contests. And they had them all over the Southeast at one time, and they've kind of dwindled down now. They don't have between, you know, I think about 20 or 25 contests a year. But it's good for us because we have a lot of them within 4 hours of me. And a lot of them are within 2 hours of me. And so you can only, if you don't want to cook with one category, you don't have to cook with one category and still win GC. The highest scoring category wins that day. And so like me, sometimes, a lot of times I'll go load up and I'll just go cook a rib only. I cook 10 or 12 slabs of baby back ribs and that's all I cook. That's it. Turn in a blind box. You're lucky enough to be a finalist. That means you got 4 judges that come on site and you serve them on site. It's kind of like a second round of judging to see who, you know, gets the best score. and it's kind of cool. It pays really good money and all that. And of course, KCBS, you got your 4 meats, and all the scores are averaged together between brisket, pork, ribs, and chicken for an overall grand champion.
Nice. So, just when you're doing those events, when the judges come around, are you like starting a second set of ribs like 45 minutes later, just in case, or are you just throwing them all in there holding?
No, I cook them all at the same time, just hold them. Right. And then I just pull them out and sauce them and put them back on the pit to glaze them up.
Nice.
And you're also you're doing SCA events. I saw that too.
I do some SCAs a year. Not very many, 4 or 5 most of the time.
Well, we did them here, and every time you walk around, it's Heath Riles everything. Literally every single team, almost everyone.
Yeah, the are dominating in the SCA for sure.
So
yeah, I garlic jalapeno surprise you on the stage.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So what would be a good blend if, like, say, someone wants to go in the SCA event and they're using your stuff? What are these people using? What is so good about it? Because, like I said, we use it, and
the flavor
everyone else uses it.
The flavor profile that scores in the 50s is a good layer of garlic jalapeno, kind of a light layer of beef rub, and then let it set and kind of get ambient. And right before it goes on the grill, if you want a little extra color, just a little bit of pecan rub. That will make your steak kind of red. You can't pick that pecan out on it, and just grill it up and brush it with butter, and that's it.
That's what I love. They're so simple, though. That's what's cool about SCAs, man. Yeah. You just go there and you show up with, like, you can put it in the back of a pickup truck and you head out and your steak's there and everything.
Yeah, I've heard of people just loading up together and going out together and cooking under the same canopy too.
Yeah, that's what's cool about it.
Yeah, we've done that a bunch. There's several of us, Malcolm and everybody around here. So Malcolm and there's several of us that live within 20 minutes of each other, and it may be 6 or 8 of us right in the same area. A couple of tents put together, all cooking together, and just hanging out and having a good time. And it just works out so good. And a couple of these contests around here, they've actually done a rib thing at them, and they'd supply 2 slabs of ribs for you, and you'd have to turn in at least 6 bones of ribs for judges. And I like those, and I've got a drum, and I'll carry a drum, or I'll carry a Traeger, or something like that, something really easy, to cook a couple slabs of ribs on. And it's turned out real well.
Do you ever do ancillaries, or you just do the steaks?
No,
besides
I
the ribs
do
part.
Steaks unless it's ribs, I don't mess with anything else ancillary.
No chicken wings?
No, I usually don't do chicken wings or anything like that. I don't.
That's my problem, is that every time I sign up for one, I'm like, every time I go there, I'm like, God, I wish I just would have done steak. I don't want to mess with all this stuff.
Rusty, if they had 20 categories, you'd sign up.
I can't help myself. That's what I'd love to do. Love to cook. And so they're like, oh, an ancillary. It's like pig feet. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm signing up for that. And then I get there and I'm like, I wish I would have done this.
I don't even know what a pig foot is.
Well, because everyone's running around talking, having a good time. Like, I'll be with you. I'm just cooking some chicken wings and some friggin' one bites, and I'll, you guys have fun. So I'm not doing that again. So you don't do, I was listening to, I believe it was Barbecue Beat podcast, and you were talking about how you've kind of stepped back from doing so many competitions just because, you're missing out on a lot. How many are you doing now?
I wound up with about 15 or 16 this year is what I wound up doing. And I was doing about 35 to 40 at one time. And, just missing out on family stuff and just, not getting to go fishing and hunting and stuff like that, like I was before. And, just family time and events and birthdays and, friends' birthdays. And I mean, you know how it is. Barbecue will consume your life if you let it.
Right. A lot of the big time pros, I've heard that they've been cutting back and going to that 15 so they can enjoy it again instead of stressing every weekend. I got to go here. I got to go there. I'm missing this. Yep. I think 15 is like the sweet spot.
Yeah, I mean, I really do too. 15 out of 52 weeks is not bad. You know what I mean? It's not bad. But, cooking, honestly, cooking 35 contests is hard. I mean, it really is. It don't give you a lot of time for anything else whatsoever.
Chasing that team of the year is not easy.
No, it's not. It is not.
And they have them year round down there. Down here, the good news is if we win the West, it gets cold, man. We're not doing anything from here until January, and except for in Arizona and stuff. So it's nice to be able to do, but we only could do about 15 here. So we don't really have a lot of that.
We have maybe 8.
Yeah. Unless we want to drive 24 hours to Alabama,
right.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give someone starting out into competition barbecue? Let's just say I'm a backyard cook and I'm wanting to jump pro. What kind of advice would you tell me? What would you want me to know before I jumped into the pro circuit?
That you need to take somebody's class that is reputable, and that, be prepared to get your teeth kicked in till you learn, because it's hard. Guys out here are cooking and you pull it to a contest and it don't take $100,000 rig to go win competition barbecue. You can go out there with 4 drums and a pop-up tent, honestly, and have a few $1,000s invested and win contests. But you have to be consistent. And, in order to win contests, you've got to hit your tenderness marks. That's what it's all about. You have to hit tenderness. So, practice, practice, practice. That's the thing about it.
And are you a temperature kind of guy or are you a feel kind of guy? I know we touched on that a little bit, but if I'm doing a brisket, what are you looking for?
I'm both. I'm going to have my target temperature. I'm going to know where it needs to be. But you got to think every piece of meat is different because it's usually a different animal. You don't never know how that life of that animal went, or was it killed under stress or anything like that. That can affect the meat. And so you need to go by feel then. Even though it hits a temp, you need to go by feel then. And that's something, no matter how many classes you take, nobody can teach you feel. You have to learn it on your own.
And feeling with a probe and with your fingers,
right?
Like especially with
that's right.
Touching a money muscle and feeling that marshmallowy feel to it and different stuff like that.
And a lot of people go by the bend of the rib. They look for that certain bend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all about, I guess, learning the meats. That's the biggest one.
That's right. That's exactly right.
What's your favorite? So what's your favorite thing to cook when you're not cooking in competitions? You're just sitting back. You're going to watch a football game. You're going to cook something up. You're like, dude, I'm going to cook this tonight.
Honestly, between steak and I love grilled chicken. And believe it or not, I've done it tonight. I do boneless, skinless chicken thighs and I marinate them in teriyaki. And I love getting them on the egg or charcoal grill PK, and just charring them up, getting some char on them. And we take that or either boneless chicken breast and kind of slice them in half really thin. I cook them hot and fast with teriyaki on them or either, my barbecue rub. And I may grill 2 or 3 packs of chicken and me and my wife will have dinner with it. And she's a nurse, so she'll carry some for lunch. And then I have extra where I'll make a salad at home for lunch, and then she'll usually have a salad the next day, so we're trying to, I wouldn't say meal prep, but just, we always make sure that we have some leftovers to eat either for me for lunch or her for lunch, carry work.
Right. And that's
I work from home, and when I get in the rhythm of doing, work every day on the computer and stuff, I'll jump up and, let's face it, I don't want to make a sandwich every day. You know what I mean? And so I love a good salad. And so having some cold grilled chicken in the fridge and or pork tenderloin and, stuff like that, we do that a lot.
Right. And it kind of goes along the theory. If you're going to fire up your grill, might as well use all the grill space. If you're going to use all that fuel, just load it up.
And one thing I want to touch on is people don't, I think, realize they think that barbecue is really expensive, but in reality, you're saving yourself a lot of money. You're going to go fire up. Like for me, I just get my Yoder going. I'm cooking 2 pork butts, cooking it down, shredding it up, putting it in a vacuum seal and freezing it. And then when I'm ready, just boiling it for 20 minutes and I have a meal for weeks.
Yeah, tacos and enchiladas and all kinds of stuff. That's us out here in the West.
Yeah.
Well, and we do the same thing here. I cook all this pork at the MBN contest. And I'll give you an example. This weekend, I cooked 5 whole shoulders and 4 butts for 1 pork entry, but I just cook a lot. And so I carried I have a commercial vacuum sealer. I carried it with me to the contest. I had some friends there. And I give all of our friends some pulled pork. We vacuum seal it down. It's not but usually, their husband and wives, and they don't have any kids. Several of them don't. One of them does, and so we make it in these quart freezer bags, vacuum bags, and we put 2 gigantic handfuls in it, and it's enough for 2 people to eat, no problem. So, like you said, we thaw it out, boil it in a pot, water, and cut it open like it just come off the pit. And that's a meal. And I have 3 deep freezers in my garage full of meat right now.
That's kind of where I'm at too. I like doing that too, but then that itch to want to smoke something, then you just kind of have to.
Oh, yeah.
Next thing you know, you're like, well, I bought this really huge freezer and it's full. So
what's 1 more pound going to do into it?
I'll put it this way. My neighbors love me, man. Like I'm cooking something.
Well,
come on over, grab something.
I was going to say, my neighbors love me too. And of course my mom and, kin folks and friends, I give them a lot, a lot. And it kind of helps, or sometimes if I'm doing a big catering job for somebody, I have some big bags, enough meat that'll fill up a full size pan. And I have a crawfish pot, and I'll drag it out and I'll warm up those bags in a crawfish pot. And so instead of cooking a pork butt, if I don't have the time, I can just warm up that meat, pour it up in a full pan, and that's enough to feed 50 people.
I didn't think about that.
In
That'd be
bag.
delicious.
Yeah,
that's what I need to be doing then, is do a catering and get some of this pork and brisket.
Yeah.
But I make burgers, not brisket. And what's funny is you trim down those briskets, you got a lot, but that doesn't make that many. That doesn't make a whole lot of burgers actually.
No, when you grind it and
once you grind it. Well, so where can they find you, Heath? Actually, let's start. What are you working on next? Do you have anything coming out that we should be aware of besides the brisket injections?
I do. I'm making besides brisket injection, chicken injection. I'm working on a buttery garlic jalapeno, which is taking my garlic jalapeno and adding dehydrated butter to it, or garlic butter, and it's ready to go right now. We're working on label design for it. And I've taken the everyday rub and I've added citrus and lemon to it for like a lemon seasoning for fish and seafood and vegetables and all that. I've got that ready to go, and I'm working on a lot of glazes right now also.
Oh, wow. Well, we wanted to say first, we're big fans of yours. You need to do more videos because I love whenever you're on. There's Heath Riles videos and chicken sandwiches and whatever. But at my house, your rubs are one of the top things we use. Whenever we come over, I'm always using them on whatever. So we appreciate what you do and keep on doing it. Where can they find you at? When someone wants to buy something, where do they go?
HeathRilesBarbecue.com. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Heath Riles Barbecue.
Awesome, man. Well, we appreciate your time. It's been awesome.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, well, that was Heath Riles. Hope you all enjoyed that. It was really cool to have him on, and he just is a wealth of knowledge, and he's probably one of the better. It's sad that, it's good for him that he's going down to only 15 competitions, but, man, it's like that dude, he can just crush, and
right.
But good for him. Look forward to his class in Memphis. Is something I would really look into.
Yeah, for sure.
I know him and Malcolm were out here in Phoenix a year ago. I wish I would have done that, but I didn't see it till it was too late.
You seen a Facebook event that was a week later?
Nope, it was a year later.
Oh.
So I was like, can't go to that.
Nice.
No, but yeah, his class in Memphis, like he said, taking classes, man, there's nothing more important than that. You're wasting a lot of time if you're not. Just a lot of trial and error that's unnecessary that you can learn from someone. And yeah, you're looking at a $500, $600 price tag, but you'll be spending far more than that learning and screwing up.
Exactly.
So save yourself some money and take the class. Look for him. I couldn't imagine. There's maybe 5 people in the whole world that you can take a class from right now, in that he's one of them. So
right, and he's very active on Instagram and Facebook too, so you can all probably reach out to him as well.
Yep. So,
alrighty, where can you find the Pitmasters?
Well, you can find us on YouTube. We have our new YouTube channel. You guys will notice we have a new backdrop. We're also getting ready to have another guest on, so you'll see that we did our outro.
Yeah, it's kind of jumps, but we're good. Couple takes.
Check us out on YouTube. You can watch us, react to stuff, sit back, take drinks of water.
Yeah.
Actually, I like it.
I watch. You check your phone.
I did check my phone a couple times.
We're like cut. We're whatever. But
we got a lot of feedback for our podcast, and someone's like, "Man, I wish I could see you check your phone more often." Like, we should do a YouTube channel.
Yeah, we can do a live. That'd be cool to do a live one day.
Live of me checking my phone.
Yeah, you turn your live version on. We can plug that on them. See what you're really looking at, fantasy scores. Because it is Monday night, guys.
Well, I've already won all my leagues, so.
Oh, okay. I'm down like.
I won someone in particular, who's our next guest, actually, David Hansen. So.
Oh, nice.
I think the word is you're looking for is whooped his ass.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Well, I guess he's technically not our guest yet. Don't we have?
Not yet. He'll be up next.
Yeah. Well,
one of them.
He'll be up in 2 episodes, I guess.
Something like that.
Because we have Benji's Barbecue Shack.
Yep, next. Yeah, we went and sat at Benji's Barbecue here in Salt Lake and chatted with him for a little while in his restaurant. Had some of his food, which is really good, and talked to him about stick burners and a little bit touched on the history of barbecue and a little stuff. It's actually a really cool interview. So check that out next the week after next week, Thursday.
Yeah,
sorry, I'm a little discombobulated.
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
You can find us on YouTube, like I said, iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Spotify. Castbox, is that what it is? Castpod. Again, if you guys think of something, man, let us know. We'll try and put it up on there. It isn't that difficult. Just throw them up there. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Just hit that subscribe button, guys. Tell us what you think. We love the reviews. We love the feedback we've been getting. If you want to see someone on the show that you like, let us know. We'll look to getting that on the show. A topic you want to hear. Please hit us up. We would love to chat about that. So thanks again, guys. And next week we'll be talking with Benji Barbecue.
Yep. Have a good night.
See you later.